people he was a diamond dealer, told his girlfriend he got a tender exporting mercury, while to his conveyancer he was just simply a businessman. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
To Parliament now, where former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride is expected back in the hot seat. McBride will continue his testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption. Yesterday, he accused former Police Minister Nathi Nhleko of appointing an illegal immigrant with a criminal record to head his office. He also told MPs of alleged corruption in crime intelligence and how IPID was targeted for its investigations. Babalondenze reports.
Robert McBride testified yesterday that there were plots by the police against some members of the IPID during his tenure. McBride also says he was suspended by former Minister of Police Nathi Nhleko after he exonerated Shadrack Sibiya for kidnapping and defeating the ends of justice after Sibiya was initially found guilty by IPID. He went further and accused Nhleko of hiring a chief of staff without proper clearance and proper immigration papers.
Leonard Mangwa is a former chief of staff of Nathi Nhleko, and he's a Zimbabwean. He has an illegal ID he was throwing around even when he was appointed, and no security clearance. So what is the whole Minister of Police appointing a foreigner with a criminal record as his chief of staff?
He said there has to be better screening of people before they are appointed. McBride will continue his evidence today before suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi takes the stand tomorrow. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Trade union COSATU has expressed its irritation over what it views as a generous salary increase for politicians and the judiciary. President Cyril Ramaphosa has opted for a 3.8% increase for his executive and parliamentarians and a 4.1% increase for the judiciary. But COSATU says the salary bump to ministers, which translates to roughly 100,000 rand more per year, is an ill-considered message and out of touch with the lived realities of ordinary South Africans. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The presidency says President Cyril Ramaphosa decided on the 3.8% increase for politicians based on the recommendations of the Independent Commission for the Remuneration of Public Office Bearers. This includes their role, status and duties, remuneration of public office bearers and inflation. But COSATU's parliamentary coordinator Matthew Parks says the decision is shameful.
It defies logic that 2 months after the Minister for Finance warned that further tax hikes may be a necessity in 2026, that government found an additional 536 million rand to fund the salaries of politicians, commissioners and judges.
Parks says it's an even greater affront that the salary hikes include over 9,000 councillors when most municipalities are on the brink of collapse.
If government has spare funds, then it must hire the doctors, nurses, teachers, police officers and other frontline workers needed to provide essential services to working class communities and the economy.
COSATU wants the Remuneration Commission to subject its proposals to public comment before submitting to the President for approval. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
In the Western Cape, the city of Cape Town's disaster risk management is coordinating relief interventions in Masiphumelele. Several homes were burnt to the ground in a fire which broke out yesterday. The city's Charlotte Powell says a full damage assessment will be conducted once the area has been declared safe.
Once all the details have been recorded, it will be submitted to SASSA, the Provincial Department of Social Development and the National Department of Human Settlements for relief from their side.
Powell has also encouraged the public to assist the community with any donations.
Members of the public who would like to make donations to help those in need can drop off non-perishable foodstuffs, nappies, baby formula, as well as blankets, bedding.
And in New Zealand, Prime Minister Christopher Luxon has set the date for general elections as November the 7th. While making the announcement, Luxon vowed that his government would continue to deliver on the plan to fix the basics. The latest Taxpayers Union survey released gave the opposition Labour Party a narrow lead of 31.6% to 30.0% over Luxon's Conservative National Party. But the poll indicated that Luxon's coalition government would still remain in power. He told reporters the coalition government has made significant progress to fix the country since taking office, particularly in fixing the economy. Gold is trading at $4,883.77 an ounce. The rand is at 16.38 to the dollar, 22.02 to the pound, 19.21 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.92 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the Mark 1 North between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange. There's also queuing traffic in the east of Joburg, particularly in Bedford View around the Gilulis Interchange, the N3 North, R24, as well as the N12 West, backed up towards the Gilulis turnoff.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng today, with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 25 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. More witness testimony is expected on how the stolen money from President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapala game farm was allegedly spent by the accused.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, good morning, bonjour. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela show on this Wednesday, the 21st of January. It's great to have you with us here on 702. I wish you all the best with your plans vandag. The 702 open line starts now. You can join the conversation on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. So, the video footage of that accident in Vanderbijl Park that killed 12 children has been released. And it's very clear. It's from the dash camera of the truck that the Scholar Transport collided with. And in this footage, you can see that the Scholar Transport driver was reckless. He tried to overtake in a dangerous zone. He was completely careless. He could have avoided this, and I hope that he can be charged with murder and not culpable homicide. A strong message has to be sent out to everyone that when you drive recklessly like that, you could cause an accident and you could end up spending the rest of your life in jail. Remember the Jub Jub case? What happened with the Jub Jub case? When he killed those kids during that drag racing crash in Soweto, when was it? Was it back in 2010? He was initially sentenced to murder, if you remember. But on appeal, after I think 3 or 4 years later, that murder conviction was overturned and replaced with culpable homicide, which reduced his sentence. And the issue that was acknowledged there is the lack of intent to kill. So they couldn't prove that he intended to kill those kids. So in his case, there was a distinction between intending to kill and causing death through reckless actions while under the influence of drugs. And I think we need to find a way to have a more severe charge for people who were careless and could have avoided the accident that killed people, other than culpable homicide. What do you think? I mean, if you could foresee that people may die as a result of your actions, and you go ahead with that action, and the people die, you knew that there was a possibility. I mean, hence the legal principle of dolus eventualis. Isn't that what that legal principle is about? It's about eventual intent, isn't it? Where a person oversees a harmful outcome as a possible result of their actions, but they proceed anyway accepting that possibility, even if they don't desire it. So that makes them culpable for that harm as if they intended it. Remember, that's what was actually argued in the case of Oscar Pistorius. Dolus eventualis. I mean, it differs from direct intent, obviously, where the result is the goal. So you intended for that result. But you are aware of the possible result of your actions. And I think this driver was aware that getting on this road, in this dangerous zone, the roads are not even wide enough. I think he knew that there's a possibility here that there could be a very dangerous accident that leads to these kids dying, and he still chose to go ahead with that action. He was aware of the possible result of his actions. Lawyers, where you at? Please, can you help us out here? And maybe you're not a lawyer, but you understand these legal matters. I've shared my thoughts. Please share yours on 011-883-0702. Send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. 12 kids have died because of these actions. And we cannot accept that someone is just going to be charged with culpable homicide and they're out of jail after 8 years. Or maybe they could be charged for each individual death. Let me know your thoughts. Another issue I want us to discuss on the open line this morning is what I think is President Donald Trump's end goal with the so-called Board of Peace. So the Board of Peace is intended to comprise of world leaders, and the initial intention is to address the situation in Gaza. So this board will temporarily oversee the running of Gaza and manage its reconstruction. But guess what? The Palestinian Authority is not even invited to sit on that board. But the board will make decisions about Gaza, about Palestine in Gaza. But the Palestinian Authority is not even invited to sit on that board. Anyway, if you want a permanent seat on that board as a world leader, you have to pay about $1 billion. How that money is going to be managed, it's unclear. What this board will do is also expand to other conflicts around the world. Now, here's what I think, and I'm interested in your thoughts. I think that the U.S. President, Donald Trump, what he's trying to do here is replace the United Nations. He wants to build an international system where powerful world leaders can sit and decide on conflicts around the world. And who knows what else they're going to decide on. Remember, the U.S. is planning to withdraw from all these multilateral organizations. So it's not going to be a member of the United Nations anymore. Won't be with NATO anymore. Won't be with the World Bank anymore. The World Health Organization, you name it. There are a few people that he has invited to be part of this board. He invited, guess who? The Russian president, Vladimir Putin, who apparently is still considering that invitation. Can you imagine how dangerous this Board of Peace would be to the world? If you've got powerful world leaders sitting on this Board of Peace, if they decided to operate on their rules, on their desires, oh, you love that country, just take it. I will help myself with this one. What then becomes the role of the United Nations if powerful countries are moonlighting as members of this Board of Peace? And if you don't want to join this Board of Peace that Trump has established, he's going to punish you. He is now threatening 200% tariffs on French wines and champagnes to get President Emmanuel Macron to be part of the Board of Peace. If he follows through with this can have an impact on France. Bearing in mind that the United States is the largest market for French wines and spirits, with shipments at 3.8 billion euros back in 2024. But can you imagine how Americans will also feel? No French champagne? You think they're going to be happy with that? But that is a man who says, if I don't get what I want, I'm coming for you. What do you think is Trump's end goal with this Board of Peace? Do you agree with my view that he's trying to replace the United Nations, or do you see it differently? Give me a call on 011-883-0702. I'll take your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. Let's talk. At 10 o'clock, we're going to do our Healing Hour. It's our monthly feature. And on our Healing Hour today, I want us to just reflect on our inner journey. what is the one thing that you are hoping to heal from this year? What is that burden that you're ready to put down so that you can finally move forward and feel free again? That's what we're going to talk about on our Healing Hour at 10 o'clock. If you want to share your story with us about the things you want to let go of, the things you want to heal from, maybe that emotional baggage that you've been carrying for so long, you can send us an email as well on cm@702.co.za if that's what you prefer. Otherwise, I'm going to be taking your calls at 10. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Listener's Choice feature. Today's focus is on the protests in Iran. One of our listeners has asked that we bring in someone who can explain what the protests are about, how the regime in Iran has responded to protests, and what this resistance from the citizens means. So we've got an expert who's going to explain that to you at 11 o'clock. And then at 11:30, we're going to do the sharing space. And there's quite an interesting story we've received today on the sharing space. Can't wait for you to hear it and share your thoughts. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Hi, Clement. Re the bad driving of the taxi drivers. I actually think taxi owners should also be charged. They are complicit. They have these vehicles. They unroadworthy vehicles. They seem to be getting off scot-free. And I hear that actually the government owns or government officials own most of the taxis anyway. So they're not going to do much. But I really think it shouldn't only be the taxi drivers. Thanks, Sonia.
The legal principle.
Good morning, Clement. Thanks for opening the show on a very interesting topic. So regarding the scholar transport driver, 100% agree that his recklessness should be deemed as murder, not as culpable homicide. But the other issue is that you see drivers like this every day, the taxi industry and just general everyday Joes, because there's no fear of remand or consequences from the law. So I think it's a good start, but then how we judge one should be how we judge all.
Good morning, Dr. Manyathela, and good morning to the listeners. Clement, I've seen the footage. It is clear the guy wanted to kill these kids. It is clear. Because he had a chance to go back to his lane. Even the other taxis were opening the space for him. But he decided, no, I want to overtake as many as I could. Even putting other children at risk, of which he did. So I think for me, if the law would say that this is capable of homicide, they will be failing us. Honestly, this is a pure murder. Thank you so much. Selo from Sakana.
Hey, morning, Clement. Aubrey and Fosnoras. Clement, I think after viewing that video of the Val accident, you are right. This thing of culpable homicide, it doesn't work here. It was murder, Clement. That's why you see in aviation, in the planes, there's a cockpit voice recorders and everything, so that even when an accident happens, we will replay and check who was at the wrong and if it was intentionally or not. That one, Clement, you can see it was intentionally. Even the fact that he managed to save and avoid to be hit head-on collision. So he saved so that the truck can hit the other side of the taxi. So I would say it qualifies for murder, straight murder, Clement, no culpable homicide. As I'm saying, you can see on the recording that his intentions were there to kill those children. Thank you.
Yeah, look, honestly, I don't agree with that aspect. I wouldn't take it that far to say he intended to kill the children. He just wanted to kill the children. And yeah, I could be wrong, but I don't think, at least that's not where my head is at the moment, right? I do think he must be charged with murder, but I don't think he intended to kill the kids. And also, if you watch the video, you see that he quickly swerves because it could have been a head-on collision. And I tell you, if it was a head-on collision, if you see the speed at which both vehicles were traveling, there's no way he would have survived it. In fact, maybe some of the kids would have survived who were sitting at the back. He, at the front of that taxi, I don't think he would have survived. He survived because he swerved to the right and the truck hit the taxi from the middle. Now, my argument is that with Jub, there are some people who also said, yeah, but they clearly wanted to kill the kids. They took drugs, they got into their vehicles, they were racing on a road they shouldn't have been racing on. And initially the sentence was murder. But on appeal, the judge said, no, this is culpable homicide. And the sentence was reduced. And the issue, what that was dealt with was the lack of intent to kill. Because it's very difficult to establish an intent to kill, which is why I'm asking for lawyers to come in here. It's very difficult to establish, especially in accidents. There's a distinction between intending to kill someone and causing death through reckless actions while under the influence of drugs. Which is why I'm bringing in dolus eventualis, which is a legal principle of eventual intent. When you, as a driver of this taxi, you foresee a harmful outcome. And in this case, there's no way he didn't foresee that if I get on this road and I overtake these many vehicles, there's a truck coming, he can see it. Any rational person can see that I am likely to hit that truck, and this, because that truck is bigger than this vehicle and we are driving at such high speed, there's likely to be casualties. So yes, you may not desire the casualties as a taxi driver, but you proceeded with your action, accepting that there's even when you've accepted that there's a possibility that there may be casualties. Excuse me, and I'm saying on that basis, this man has got to be charged with murder. There's no way we're losing 12 kids and someone is just going to go to jail for 8 years and is out because they were charged with culpable homicide. No ways. It's 23 after 9.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
Sibongile, you calling us from Randburg. What do you want to say about the U.S. President?
Yeah, first of all, I also agree with all your points about the taxi driver. But what I wanted to say about the U.S. president, I think, is that we are in an era where, in the same way that Hitler was around, that there's a new world order that's being formed. It may eventually look like a parallel organization like the United Nations, but I think it's far bigger and far darker.
Far dangerous, hey?
Far more dangerous, because I think it is an order where it's driven by narcissistic, patriarchal, white imperialist male energy that wants to keep its power. And I don't think some people are saying it's at a brink where imperialism is dying. I don't think it's going to die down that easily. But what it is asking us is that those of us who do believe in peace, who are probably from the global south, we need to rise up far stronger and far more determined than what the likes of the Netanyahus and the Trumps are doing right now, because it is so dark that we can't even imagine what it's going to be like, because they're holding on to a belief that they are the race or the men or the powers that should rule the world. And they will do whatever it takes to hold on.
It's actually quite scary, Sibongile, thinking about it. I want you to actually listen to what the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, said in Davos yesterday. You probably have heard this clip before, but listen to it attentively again. Because I think there you've got a man who is basically calling on middle powers to stop mourning the old world order. He says, let's create new alliances to oppose these pressure tactics and intimidation, because what's being built, this board of peace, as Bongile says, it's far darker. And the consequences are going to be so severe for all of us. Listen to what the Canadian Prime Minister said yesterday in Davos.
We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false. That the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient. That trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful. And American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals. And we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination.
When integration becomes the source of your subordination. What a statesman's speech. Outstanding. This is what true global leadership actually looks like in the absence of one. This man is leading the fight back when others dare not. I mean, how many world leaders are scared to tell the truth and fight back? Canadians must be proud.
Hi, Clement. Morning. What Trump is doing is tipping over the world order as we know it, which there is a silver lining. The world order has always had big boys. There's an elitist approach to it, that certain countries, certain nations are given the right to make certain decisions, and it's always been justified in some kind of history. And I think the silver lining is to relook at that, especially from the so-called global south side, and reevaluate what does that really mean in terms of, is it even sustainable? Of course, it's dangerous. It's a very dangerous precedent, what Trump is trying to set. But I think he's also making us stare right in the face, the reality, which so often we've been tiptoeing around it. We've been talking about it in a subtle way. There's a subtlety in which we approach these power dynamics. And I think now that we're staring at them in the face, we can have a bit more of a candid discussion and really look at what does this really mean. It's yet to be seen what this means for the global order as we move ahead. So that's just my 2 cents. Dangerous times, eh?
Dangerous times, my friend.
Good people, there is a difference between the definition of murder and culpable homicide. Murder is if you intentionally plan, premeditated, in order to kill something or someone. Homicide is if you now happen to go along and you smash. But besides that, the taxi driver was the root cause as to why the vehicle was on the wrong side of the road. So blame gets apportioned accordingly. But to say the truck driver intentionally murdered those people, please, really, catch a wake up, people.
It's 9:30. Let's get the latest Now Witness News headlines. We'll talk more about this taxi driver and the principle of dolus eventualis. Can that be used to get to murder like it was used in the Oscar Pistorius case? I've got some lawyers also sending messages to clarify what is what. But as I said, I don't necessarily think that this guy just got on that road and decided, I want to kill these children in the back. But I think he was grossly negligent. He had an opportunity to do differently. He could foresee that his action will likely cause a very bad accident that could lead in the death of everybody in that taxi. And even after having foreseen that, he continued. Why can't we use that and the principle of dolus eventualis to get to the charge of murder? Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. Gauteng community safety officials are calling for the security company tasked with guarding the Booysens Magistrates Court to be held accountable. It follows a shooting outside the court yesterday in which 5 people were targeted. Gunmen opened fire, killing 2 people and leaving 3 others injured. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says a mechanism will be found to bring private scholar transport vehicles in line with the framework of public transport systems. Lesufi says this will ensure that drivers fully comply with the regulations set out for public transport. He made the comments during a media briefing yesterday while providing an update on the Vanderbijl Park scholar transport accident. And search efforts to locate a missing Ekurhuleni city official in Mozambique enter the fifth day today. MMC for Roads and Transport, Andile Mgwevu, was reported missing late on Friday evening after a vehicle that he and his friends were travelling in got caught in floodwaters in the Chokwe region in the southern part of that country. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the M2 West, we've got delays between the Harderbeck Road exit and Elof Street. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South. This is in the Bryanston area heading towards Four Ways, approaching Winnie Mandela Drive. While travelling on the Mike 1 South, we expect delays between the Baklu Interchange and Marlborough Drive. There's also slow-moving traffic reported along the R24 as well as the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis Interchange. Otherwise, travelling in the city of Tshwane, please be on the lookout for some delays reported along the N1 North coming out of the Flying Saucer Interchange due to roadworks along this route. They are right in the center lane. Please try to avoid as much as you can. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
What would be a practical way of implementing it? And now, as a driver in South Africa, you are not allowed to take a single drop of alcohol if you're intending to drive. How do we implement it in a way that's going to be effective?
Zero alcohol can definitely work, but as saying, it has to be implemented well. And that would mean consistent roadside testing, for instance. It would mean visible enforcement, having those checkpoints. And it also would mean that we need to have sustained public messaging. And there has to be some kind of consequence.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
They're back on home soil. The Proteas men get behind the World Test champions as they face the West Indies in a T20 International at DP World Wanderers on the 31st of January. This match also marks Pink Day and a send-off to the ICC T20 World Cup. Pitch up in pink. Bring your unbreakable spirit and support a great cause. Get behind the Proteas men against the Windies for Pink Day. Visit cricket.co.za to book tickets.
Hollywood Bets invites you to take the lead. The sizzling summer competition is giving you a chance to bask in horse racing glory and blaze into red-hot rewards. Bet 50 Rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch and you could win a share of 1 million Rand in prizes. Enjoy a star-studded lineup of equestrian events this summer and settle up for a season of success. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. It's the 702 open line. I'm asking you about Trump's Board of Peace. What do you think his end goal is? This is the Board of Peace that I think he's trying to replace the United Nations. So he's going to bring all his fellas, powerful world leaders around the world and say, come sit on this board. Oh, by the way, for you to get a permanent seat on this board, you need to pay like $1 billion. The United Nations also has a permanent seat system. So these people are going to make decisions about the world. They're going to make decisions about how Gaza is going to be reconstructed. My goodness, who knows? Gaza may be turned into a bloody resort. Excuse the pun. That's what Trump said. Remember, his vision was to turn Gaza into a resort. Those people will have to go somewhere. Interestingly enough, in fact, I just thought of this. He also invited the leaders of Egypt, Jordan, some of the leaders of Turkey, some of the leaders in the Middle East. And I think the reason for that is to somehow put pressure on them to agree to take in people who live in Gaza so that he clears off that area and he can build his beautiful resort. I think so. But what a dangerous path it would be for us to take, to have powerful countries sitting on this board of peace and making decisions and coming up with their own rules, their own international system of sorts. And what impact would that have on the United Nations is the question I'm asking. We're also talking about this driver who caused the accident in Vanderbijlpark. 12 children have died. I'm worried that this man may be charged with just culpable homicide. And I'm trying to argue that when you have killed 12 kids like that, through an action that you could have avoided, through an action that you could foresee could result in an accident that could be bad and lead in the deaths of the children in your car, and you still conceded with that action even after the possibility you were aware of, then that is dolus eventualis. And at some point, we must be able to use that to get to the charge of murder. I don't think he intentionally tried to kill these kids. And I understand that the minute you say, well, if he didn't intend to do it, then that takes you back to culpable homicide. Izzy, you calling us from, Izzy is just gone there. Please, let's get Izzy back on the line. In the meantime, let's go to some of your messages that are coming through on the WhatsApp line. Let me start with some text before we go to voice notes. One says, hi, Clement. While losing 12 children is horrific, I doubt that you can equate recklessness with intent to murder. There's a huge difference, and the sentence should reflect that. The other one says, Clement, there was an accident around 2009 where a driver plowed through a group of early morning runners in Midrand. Really tragic. I think 8 were killed. Personal impact because it was one of our club routes. My understanding is that the driver was convicted for murder because he could have reasonably foreseen that his previous night's drinking may result in a crash. He was a professional person, an engineer, I think. That's a message from Peter. Another one says, Clement, the law also considers indirect intention, where you continue with your actions knowing fully well the outcome of your actions, and you don't care about the outcome of the action. Therefore, a person can be convicted of murder by indirect intent. It's called dolus eventualis. Yes, JM. That's what this is actually from JM Attorneys. That's great. So there's a lawyer confirming that actually you can go convict someone of murder by indirect intention. That is the dolus eventualis I was trying to talk about earlier on. Izzy, we've got you. Okay, something is wrong there. Every time I try to take Izzy's call, it's cutting. So let's try sort that out. Let's go to your WhatsApps in the meantime.
Good morning, Clement. Just watched that dashcam video, man. It's so heartbreaking. I really think the driver should be charged with murder. He really murdered those school children. Because if you look at the video properly, there's a taxi that gave him space so that he can come back to the left. But it just went straight onto the truck. This is heartbreaking. No, I agree with you. This guy should be charged with murder, man. Thanks for the great show, as always.
Morning, Clement. Look, I'm looking at the summary of culpable homicide and thinking about the cases that we've had over the years. It's really not that straight and it's not that serious, because if you look at it, when it comes to road accident, it's 2 to 5 years. When it comes to serious cases, I think this one may be treated as a serious case, it's 5 to 8 years. So that means that with the possibility of parole with this guy behaving and doing everything right, I think this guy is likely to do 3 to 4 years. So we're really not serious. And we can't say it's murder because, as you know, law is the law. We can be so emotional about it, understandably so. But when you go to court, we cannot say it's murder because we'll have to prove that this guy had an intention. He woke up in the morning and said, look, I'm going to kill these children, of which is not the case, but it was just a case of negligence. It's a case of ignorance. And it's just it's something that should never be tolerated, Sfiso.
Izzy, you are calling us from Midrand. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, brother. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Good. Look, Clement, as I said to your producer, look, I'm no legal guru or legal expert, but in this case, emotions aside, the driver is likely to face culpable homicide. And I'll tell you why. Look, we ought to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he had a clear appreciation of the likely outcome and intent. Here we're talking about a minor, a young man, 22-year-old, unlicensed, with no PDP, inexperienced, as I would have said, and therefore that on its own makes him to lack a clear appreciation of what is likely to happen as a result of his recklessness. So in this case, it's about gross negligence or recklessness.
But he understands speed, right? He's got a license. He understands velocity. So if I am driving, any reasonable person, even a 19-year-old, if I'm driving on this side of the road and I'm driving at 130 or 140 kilometers per hour, and there's another car that's driving at the same speed, there's 100 meters in between us and we are facing the same direction. Any reasonable person, what are they going to think? That the two vehicles are just going to bump each other a little bit and then nobody dies and there's no huge impact that leads in the lives of people in both vehicles at that velocity? Isn't that a reasonable thing?
Look, Clement, partly you are right, but hence the question of expertise and experience becomes a critical factor here. I repeat, the young man is inexperienced, wet behind the ears. He lacked an appreciation of what is likely to happen. For any other person in his position, he would have known or appreciated that this might result in an accident, however, not necessarily a tragic one or a fatal one. And that's my take.
All right, Easy, thank you so much for your take in Midrand. Do you agree with Easy there about the issue of experience, that may also be a factor here? But guys, if we're really trying to argue the issue of reasonability, you want to argue beyond reasonable doubt that this person could foresee, any rational, reasonable person, if you are driving at 130 kilometers per hour, there's another car that's driving at an equal or higher speed, there's 100 meters between you guys or less, what did you think is going to happen? And the other vehicle is a truck and you're driving a smaller vehicle, what do you think is going to happen? The reasonable thing to think of is, oh my God, there's going to be a head-on collision and the impact is going to be so severe, more so on me as a smaller vehicle, and that can lead to people dying. So what do? I go back to my lane. That's the most reasonable thing to do. So if we're going to test reasonability and rationality, I think anyone else who has a license, who gets on the road, when they look at velocity, that's a reasonable conclusion to get to. You are likely not to survive when you drive at that speed and the vehicle you are approaching is driving at an equal speed and there's not a lot of distance between you guys. John, John is gone again. We'll try to get John on the line. Let's get some WhatsApp voice notes.
Morning, Clement. Morning, 702. No, that guy must be charged with murder because, number one, he's going to fail the test of a reasonable man. A reasonable man wouldn't have done what he has done. He was intentionally doing what he has done, the end results, like killing the children. He have foreseen that that was not going to be possible, and still he went on with it. And the other thing is driving without a professional driving permit. So he was intending to do harm, by just not even having permitted to drive, to carry passengers and goods, so his intention will be proven in many ways, Khotso from Naledi.
Good day, Clement. Clement, I just saw the video on the socials, and it's really devastating that it happened in that fashion, because from my view is that the guy had a chance to veer off to the left and save the children, right? But however, he chose to go to the right-hand side where already the truck was already moving into, and that's why the collision was deadly. But I believe that whenever you get a PRDP, which permits you to load people, there should be a basic level of defensive driving that you actually go through before you actually get the PRDP, right? And to prevent such atrocities and death in large numbers, because you are loading about 13 to 14 people at a time. You should at least have some level of basic training to avoid taking such risks.
Good day, Clement. Regarding the scholar transport taxi driver, whether we like him or not, we don't like his actions, but it can be argued that it is culpable homicide and that he did not intend to kill, because he would have known there would be an accident, but he didn't intend to kill people. So that could be argued. I think the wording of the law should change, and a higher burden should be put on any transport of children or school children. Thank you, Joe.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
John, you calling from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi,
yes,
John.
Mr. Clement, how are you?
Sharp, man.
Yes,
Go
I'm
ahead.
very well, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Clement. So my comment is regarding President DJT's Board of Peace. So I'd like to just slightly differ from your assertion that this particular proposal of the Board of Peace is going to be dangerous. So my point is that this Board of Peace will not be any more dangerous than the current United Nations Security Council will be. So the current United Nations Security Council currently consists of about 5 permanent members. These are, basically powerful countries in the world: Russia, China, France, UK, USA. So these countries, even though, despite being part of the United Nations, they have always done whatever they want anywhere else in the world, despite all, objections. The United Nations, right? There are several examples from, even from current history. Look, let us, they've, started wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, France, in Libya, as recently as 2012 under the leadership of President Barack Obama, ending up in the brutal murder of Gaddafi in the streets of Libya. Right? He was basically just killed like an animal on the streets. Despite all the UN, objections and all of that, right? Russia, we all know, they're currently, busy with Ukraine, Crimea. China is busy, annexing Taiwan and all of that. All of these have, these countries have basically gone out to conquer all of these countries, despite being members of the United Nations. So if they have done that now, it's still going to be basically the same thing, even as members of the Board of Peace. So it's already, what will happen? There's already happening right now. That's all that I want to say.
Yeah, John, and I think,
and
I take your point, John. I think you make a fair point. We have spoken a lot of times on the show about the Security Council and these powerful countries who still do whatever they want, and all the United Nations can do is condemn them. I suppose, at least when you are part of the United Nations, there's still some kind of rules-based order of sorts. So it's a rules-based multilateral organization, and I feel like if you thought what they have done while they were on the United Nations was worse, well, wait until they operate outside of an international rules-based order and they are on their own. I think it's in that moment when they're going to have carte blanche to do whatever they want without thinking twice, because they're not part of any institution where they must justify their actions like they have to the United Nations before. So I take your point. But my argument is, if you thought what they have done while they were with the United Nations was worse, well, wait until they've got no rules. Wait until they don't have to think twice. Wait until they don't need to account to anyone. Wait until they have carte blanche to do whatever they want, because they're some powerful country and they don't need to justify their actions to anyone. I think there we're going to see the consequences. Stephen, you're calling us from Alberton. What do you want to say? Good morning.
How's it, Clement?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Very quickly, and I don't want this to come out as though I am saying this is okay, the accident that has happened, and in any which way. So there might be some things that will be tested by the processes of law that are going to come out of this. there are things, I think, extenuating circumstances or mitigating circumstances or pressure points that this boy might have been under that are going to come out. I'm going to speculate and speedball a lot to say, take for an example, this man could have been rushing for a sick mother or a sick granny back home, and he needed to deliver the boys to their respective schools, and he kind of was under pressure. He could have been trying to get back to another load of passengers, maybe to a place of work or somewhere. There's always extenuating circumstances that explain. But to say it's murder, I think it could be overstretching it. However, I do agree to say when processes are tested by the legal machinery, there must be circumstances that are taken into account to say this was gross negligence, and maybe we shouldn't consider 5 to 8 years. Maybe we should consider even more. And I don't agree with people when they say it's lack of experience. I think the proper word could have been lack of emotional quotient to anticipate the outcome. Maybe
then you shouldn't be on the road then, Stephen. Hey, if you don't have that.
I hear you, but you don't get tested for that when you go to driving school and when you go to get tested. You're not tested by EQ for EQ. So what I'm also saying very quickly to let you go on this is that whichever way we want to look at this, there are already precepts that are established by law to test these things. But I'm thinking there will be mitigations and extenuating circumstances that are going to come out of this. And just for us, look, we are arguing and debating from point of unknowing. We don't know what we don't know. You know, I was saying to your producer now, I'm a diabetic, right? And sometimes I get pressed to relieve myself if I need to pass out urine. For an example. And when I'm on the road, I forget some of the rules of the road. Oh, okay, I take calculated risks, but I would also go on the yellow line because I have to get to the next ablution facility as soon as I can and as quick as I can. This way I'm peeing on myself. You know, there's always extenuating circumstances and mitigating circumstances that presses individuals to do things that are unfathomable at the point until they are tested and brought to the force. Then we have a little bit of understanding, even though it may have been tragic and lives are lost.
Absolutely.
You know?
I hear that, Stephen. And I mean, if I am a judge in that, I'd like to know that, okay, cool. What's the worst that could have happened if you didn't take the yellow line? You could have peed on yourself. That's the worst that could have happened. Were you gonna die peeing on yourself? No. What's the worst that could have happened when you took the yellow line? You could have crashed a car and you could have killed 12 kids. Do you get it? So even mitigating circumstances and reasons must still be reasonable and rational.
No, absolutely. But at the point when you do it, you're not thinking that far, and you rely on your experience of driving and taking calculated risk and all those. But I give it to you, and I agree fully that he must be brought to book and the processes of law must be. But there will be all other factors coming out of this one.
Yeah, Stephen in Alberton, appreciate your thoughts, brother. Lesego, you are in Bryanston. Good morning.
Morning, Clement.
Sure.
I'm listening to people trying to come up with rational thinking around this, and it does not make sense. One, it's got nothing to do with age, but lack of knowing that you're not going to be held accountable. We see that every day, every morning when I drop off my boy at school, I see people driving on oncoming lanes because why? They know they're not going to be held accountable for it. I see it's almost as if it's embedded in us to say, Bazoba strong. I could see that the drivers, whether it's a taxi, whether it's an individual in their vehicle, people do not care. They just do as they wish, whether they're young, whether they're old. So, number one, I go back to Stephen's point where maybe your age. No, it's got nothing to do with age. If you're going to overtake more than 2 cars at a time, you're carrying people's kids in the car. What do you think is going to happen if something goes wrong? Let's say that the worst did not happen. These kids were injured. They were still going to be injured, and they were going to have to go for trauma counseling because of your, negligence and, just don't care attitude.
Got it. Lesotho in Bryanston, thank you. Jeremy, you are in the Johannesburg CBD. Hi.
Hi, Clement. Look, I tend to agree that rationally you would anticipate that something's going to happen, but experience does play a role. I think if you're driving in a car and you're driving at as your example, at 100 kilometers per hour, or whatever the case might be, you're not aware what the other drivers are driving at what speed. So you are thinking that you can make it, but not guaranteed. There's no guarantee that you're going to make it. You're just anticipating that you can. And experience tells you that you can see the car coming, you would have to pull over. If you're inexperienced, you're going to try that move. And I think until the driver knows everything about the surrounding, he can't be held responsible that he absolutely knew that he was going to make it or not going to make it.
All right, Jeremy in the Johannesburg CBD, thanks for your contribution. It's 2 minutes before 10.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on primemediaplus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the primemediaplus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
It's the month of love, and it is time to celebrate music for the soul at Nairox Sculpture Park in the Cradle of Humankind on Sunday, the 15th of February, featuring Mandi Sichanji, internet artist Tando Zide, and the Resonance String Quartet, among others. Poet and musician Nomashenge Dlamini masters the ceremonies. Limited tickets are available from nairoxarts.com. Nairox is a private not-for-profit foundation and benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Need a seat? Try 7 or 5. It's your call. Want a sunroof? Make it a panoramic. Gotta have power? How does award-winning 138 kilowatt sound? The Changan CS75 Pro is big enough for the kids, smart enough for your playlist, and stylish enough for your Friday night too. Why settle when you can have it all without compromise? The Changan CS75 Pro. Drive tomorrow's SUV today. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more.
Changan, driven to evolve.
Outsurance Life Insurance knows nothing's more important to you than providing for your loved ones, even if you're no longer around.
I took out life insurance with Outsurance because I want to protect my family.
That's why 47-year-old Sonette pays only 251 Rand a month for 1 million Rand life cover.
I trust Outsurance. What you see is what you get.
Get Outsurance Life Insurance cover without doing any medicals. SMS Insure to 47159. That's Insure to 47159. Licensed Insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Gauteng community safety officials are calling for the security company tasked with guarding the Booysens Magistrates Court to be held accountable. It follows a shooting outside that court yesterday. Gunmen opened fire, killing 2 people and injuring 3 others. The Gauteng Legislature's Portfolio Committee says this points to a lapse in security protocols. It says the performance of the contracted private security company needs to be looked into. Chairperson Mandile Basugu says the shooting represents a direct attack on the rule of law.
The incident also reinforces the committee's long-standing concern about the proliferation of illegal firearms in Gauteng, the ease with which firearms are accessed and used to commit violent crimes, strengthen our call for a decisive coordinated action towards achieving a gun-free Gauteng, supported by stronger intelligence-led policy.
Let's stay in the courts. More witness testimony is expected on how the stolen money from President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm was allegedly spent by the accused. This as the Phalaphala burglary trial resumes this morning at the Mudimule Regional Court in Limpopo. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dilinasha Joseph are charged with breaking into the president's farm and stealing $580,000 in cash in 2020. Tabiso Koba reports.
Since the trial began, a picture is starting to emerge on how the stolen US dollars from President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phalaphala farm were spent. So far, all the witness testimony has focused solely on accused number one, Emanuela David. David spent over 5 million rand on a fleet of luxury cars, including one he bought for his girlfriend. He spent 250,000 rand on custom-made grills and about 70,000 rand on attaching diamonds to his Rolex watch. David also spent 1 million rand on a property in Rustenburg. According to state witnesses, David's listed source of income was varied. He told the car salespeople he was a diamond dealer, told his girlfriend he got a tender exporting mercury, while to his conveyancer he was just simply a businessman. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says mechanisms will be found to bring private scholar transport vehicles in line with the framework of public transport systems. Lesufi says this will ensure that drivers fully comply with the regulations set out for public transportation. He made the comments during a media briefing yesterday while providing an update on the Vanderbijl Park scholar transport accident. On Monday, 12 learners were killed when the taxi they were travelling in collided with a truck. Meanwhile, hundreds of mourners gathered at the home of a grade 12 learner who lost her life in that accident. Lesufi and Education Minister Sivuyo Gwahube visited the victim's home to convey their condolences. Dimakatso Lishoro reports.
Both the minister and the premier spoke with the family and pledged government support. The family described the learner as a promising pupil in whom they had high hopes. They said she had confidently promised them that she would appear on TV for her matric results and make them proud. Tragically, they say they never imagined she would instead be on TV because of her death. Funeral arrangements have been made for some of the family, and this learner is expected to be laid to rest on Saturday. Dimakatsa Lishoro, Eyewitness News in Sebokeng in the Vaal Triangle.
We shift our focus to this now. Search efforts to locate a missing Ekurhuleni city official in Mozambique enters its fifth day today. MMC for Roads and Transport, Andile Mgwevu, was reported missing late on Friday evening after a vehicle he and his friends were travelling in got caught in flood waters in the Chokwe region in the southern parts of that country. Yesterday, government officials confirmed that one person survived the incident and is assisting search and rescue personnel with information. Oren Singh reports.
While the window of finding Andile Mgwevu alive edges closer towards closing, government remain optimistic. Yesterday, a delegation of officials visited Mgwevu's family in Springs on the East Rand. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says they paid the family a visit to offer their support.
We remain highly hopeful that we will be in a position to make a breakthrough and get the information that will assist us to understand where everyone is and what happened or what needs to be done to ensure that we can come and convey that message to the family.
Lesufi says authorities are working with the survivor who was in the vehicle with Mgwevu and 3 others when it was swept away.
The last information that was provided us, indeed, there was somebody that they believe is a survivor that they're communicating with.
DIRCO are providing the family with updates. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
And the Indonesian embassy is urging Indonesians to leave cyber scam sites and report to the embassy. It follows reports that more than 1,400 Indonesians have left these networks in the last 5 days. Between January the 16th and the 20th, they went to the embassy to seek help. Scammers working from hubs across Southeast Asia, some willingly and others trafficked, lure internet users globally into fake romances and cryptocurrency investments. The criminals net tens of billions of dollars each year. Gold is trading at $4,883.77 an ounce. The rand is at 16.37 to the dollar, 22.01 to the pound, 19.21 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.92 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the M2 West. This is along Village Main. An accident is reported along this route right near Elof Street. Delays from Heidelberg Road. There's also slow-moving traffic in Protea Glen along the N12 West between the R554, the Abu Bakr Drive exit, and the R558.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng today, with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 25 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Gauteng community safety officials are calling for the security company tasked with guarding the Booysens Magistrates Court to be held accountable.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome. This is the second hour of the Clement Manyathela show. Thank you for your contributions on the 702 open line. In fact, let me wrap it all up with these. Let me take these 3 messages that came through on the issue we were debating on the 702 open line. Reps from the Val says, Clement, I suspect harsher sentences for such incidents are possible. Taxis are a law unto themselves, taxi drivers, and our government has turned a blind eye for years. This guy must face the consequences of his actions. I hope the law will change so that those kids' lives were not lost in vain. Another one says, Clement, a charge of murder has a minimum sentence, so any other thing that does not prove intention allows the court to deviate from the minimum sentence prescribed. Intention requires motive. So if you can't prove the link between the two, it cannot be murder. And then the last message I'll read says, Hi Clement, I'm a candidate attorney and the term is dolus indirectus. Dolus indirectus, where the individual desires to achieve a particular result but is aware that in doing so, a secondary result will inevitably follow. There is a primary intention, but there is a possibility that in achieving this, a different indirect result may follow. So to read that last line again, there's a primary intention, but there's a possibility that in achieving this, a different indirect result may follow. And then this candidate attorney ends this message by saying he should be charged with murder. It's 10 minutes after 10 o'clock, time for our healing hour.
702
Healing Hour.
Okay, so this is our first healing hour for the year. If this is the first time you're listening to this feature, we call it the healing hour. We do it once a month. We've been doing it for many, many years. Yeah, maybe not many, but several years now. And it's been such a blessing to a lot of people. And as always, thank you so much for your feedback around how you've been impacted by the healing hour. But if you've not been part of it before, this is where we basically dedicate an hour to have a conversation amongst ourselves. We're having conversations amongst ourselves as friends, as the 702 family, and as I always do, I want to remind you that this is a safe space to share our pain, to share our stories of survival, our experiences as a community with no judgment. And what I want us to do today as we start the year is to look at what we want to heal from this year. What do you want to heal this year or heal from? Or put differently, what do you want to work on this year? Is there a relationship you want to repair? Maybe your relationship with a loved one has broken down, or maybe you want to walk away from a toxic relationship, whether an intimate relationship or a relationship with a friend, maybe it's a sibling, and that's your intention this year. You want to walk away from that, or maybe you want to repair that. What is it that you want to work on this year? I think there's something about us declaring the things that we desire and the things that we have intentions about. Because, in fact, isn't there a verse that says when 2 or 3 are gathered? I think I want to use that principle here too. When we come together and we declare the things we want to work on this year, I think there's an extra element of favor that comes with that. Knowing that there's a community that is backing you in that process. So I would like you to give me a call on 011-883-0702. You can call right now. This is a conversation between us, no guest. On the WhatsApp line, you can send on 072-702-1702. What do you want to work on this year? What do you want to heal from? Is there a relationship you want to work on that you want to repair? Is there a relationship you want to walk away from? What healing are you prioritizing this year? Maybe you want to work on your finances, eh? Maybe you want to prioritize your peace. Maybe you want to create boundaries, eh? That's another one. There are a lot of people who have struggled to create boundaries. They've been taken advantage of. They've always been giving. People are taking from them, and they've just never known how to draw boundaries. Maybe that's what you want to do this year. What are those boundaries for you? Maybe you want to find mental stability. Maybe you've suffered from depression for the longest time, and this year that's something you want to work on. Maybe you want to work on handling your emotions better. Be more rational. Or maybe you want to be more emotional because you've struggled with showing emotions. You've struggled with vulnerability. And I know, because I struggle with vulnerability myself. And it's one of those things that I always want to work on. I want to be more vulnerable to my loved ones so that they know how I feel about them. Some people struggle with people pleasing. Is that something that you want to work on? Start calling us right now. 011-883-0702. What do you want to work on this year? Is there something you want to heal from? Is there something you want to work on? You can send a WhatsApp voice notes as well on 072-702-1702. What do you want to work on this year? What do you want to heal, and what do you want to heal from? Some people have struggled with addiction, hey? Some people have struggled with addiction for the longest time. And maybe that's what you want to work on this year. And let me tell you, maybe you tried to work on it last year and it didn't work out. Maybe you tried the previous year and the 4 years before that. It doesn't matter. The point is you're still here and you still have an opportunity to give it another go. Is that something that you want to work on this year? Or maybe you want to work on your relationship with your kids. What is it that hasn't worked for you that you want to change this year? Let's talk. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. It's 15 after 10.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
Water infrastructure vandalism has tragic and dangerous consequences. The theft of manhole covers can result in fatalities, especially among children. Each damaged pipe, illegal hookup, or vandalized pump jeopardizes access to clean water. It disrupts service and threatens public safety. Report suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg at 0800 002 587. Help combat water infrastructure vandalism. Your alertness can prevent disasters. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
702
Healing Hour.
All right, we go to your calls and your WhatsApps now on 011 883 0702. What are the things you want to work on this year? What do you want to heal? What do you want to heal from? The WhatsApp line is 072 702 1702. Karabo, let's start with you. You're calling us from Mamelodi. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm not. Wena?
100. What
do you want to work on this year?
Well, for me, it would be like my relationship with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm a present father, not that I haven't been around, but I feel like I could do better. Like in terms of, the time that I spend with them, I could just spend a little more time, listen a little bit more attentively and all of those things. I think that would be my goal for the year. And yeah, I think that's really...
Do you stay with your kids?
No, unfortunately, they stay with their mother, but we are co-parenting. And
how's that going?
Yeah, well, it's quite okay, honestly. With Evo and even like the breakups so amicable. But as I alluded to Tabayanako earlier, I feel I could definitely make more time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karabo, I wish you all the best with that, man. I think that's an incredible goal to have, fixing your relationship with your kids, and believe it or not, that's going to have such a huge impact on them. All the best, brother.
Thank you so much, and thanks for a great show.
Thank you, man. Karabo, thank you for calling us in Mamelodi. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement. It's Ida here from Orange Farm. So for me, I want to heal from people's pleasing. For quite a number of years, I've been that person who will show up for friends and for family, for that matter. But I've just realized that it takes a toll on you, because the minute you can't show up, the minute you say no, you shared a friend, you shared a family member. So I've just decided that it's fine that now I'm in this space. I have less friends. I have less relationships with my family, extended family members. So I've just made peace with it. So really, I'm working on myself this year. I just want to really work on this weakness of being a people's pleaser. Thank you very much for this segment. Love your show, Clement. Ida from Orange Farm.
Ida, thank you. And I'm glad that you've picked it up, because there are many people out there who are people pleasers and they've not picked that up. And how do you address a problem when you've not picked up what the problem is? So I think kudos to you for realizing that I've always been pleasing people, because the thing about always being a people pleaser is the self there are going to be deficits with the self. The self is going to feel some type of way at some point, and you cannot avoid that because you're taking away from the self to give to other people at the expense of self. You're not pleasing yourself. And I used to be there at some point in my life where even when I get invited to things, even when I didn't want to go, I would just say, okay, cool, I'll come, even though I don't want to be there. Until I really realized that I can't continue like that. If I don't want to be in a particular space, it's okay for me to say no. Because I always used to think about disappointing other people. I've always hated that. It used to pain me to disappoint other people, but I was comfortable with disappointing myself. So I wish you the best on that journey, Ida. And kudos to you for picking up what the problem has been. And it's now time to prioritize yourself and to please yourself.
Good morning again, Clement. I, for one, what I would wish to repair this year, and has been a concern of mine for the longest of time, is re-establishing a good relationship between my mother and all of her grandchildren. The relationship is not nice at all, and for each grandchild, there's a different reason why the relationship is not good. It's not one reason that covers all. So I wish I could help. I've been trying, but I've been failing dismally. So if I can just achieve that, it would mean a lot. So yeah, great show.
Oh man, yeah, establishing relationships, hey, in the family. Your family is lucky to have you, man. Because there are other families out there that have gotten to the point where they're just comfortable with the disunity. And of course, the circumstances are different. Other people have chosen not to have a relationship with their family members because of maybe toxicity. There's something that's happened that's just pushed them away. But in some cases, there are opportunities to repair. And sometimes people are not interested to do that. And there's someone in the family who feels the need to do it. And I always believe, because I've got a friend who is facing a similar situation, right? And I've always told this friend of mine that I think, unfortunately, fortunately, that's the responsibility God has given you. And that responsibility is going to come with a burden. And the burden is, you're going to find it so difficult and burdensome to be bringing everybody on the table. But that's a responsibility that's been given on you to unite your family. And sometimes when you feel the need to do that, take it seriously, because it must mean something. It must mean that you are the chosen one to try and bring the family together. So I wish you all the best with that, bringing your family together.
Morning, Clement and the team. Clement, this year I want to build my relationship with money. Build my relationship with money, save money. Been working for 5 years, paying shark loans, paying one month loans. I'm tired, Clement. This year I'm changing. By God's grace, I want to start saving money. I want to work for something that I can see. I want to work, Clement. Thanks, Clement. My name is Deborah from Shawel.
Debza, all the best, man, with dealing with debt. All the best. On email, the message says, "Good morning, Clement. This year, I want to heal from trying to understand that my mom is an alcoholic and she is selfish by not looking to heal from this problem. 2009, my grandmother passed away and she had to leave, and I had to learn to stand for myself without a parent while doing my grade 12. Fast forward 2004, I moved back home in Kliptown, which is an informal settlement, with the hope of building a relationship with her and also improve my home from what it currently is. The whole of the year it became very uncomfortable with her coming home drunk, swearing and calling me useless because I could not contribute to the general upkeep of the house. All this was happening while I was paying off the loan I took to build a wall around the house and a gate which cost me 32,000 rand. All that while, I'm the only one in the whole family who has an income and have to take care of myself, my children, her, and the rest of the family when they ask for help. I have even resorted to not allowing my children to visit her, as I do not want them to be exposed to this. The rest of my cousins are also not keen to visit and stay with her because of her drinking problem. In December, I just moved out of the house when it just became too much, and she cried that I'm abandoning her. While I was moving, she literally threw some of my stuff and broke some. Till today, there was no apology, as usual, and she pretends everything is normal. I've not been home since December, when we came back from KZN from a cleansing ceremony after my uncle's passing in October, whom I had to bury with no help from anyone. Ever since I moved, I have been more relaxed and less stressed. So I'm planning to grow my career and get a house this year, get my children to stay with me, and that will be me never going home again. Kind regards, Oli. From Kliptown. Thank you so much, Oli, for sending that message to us, and I wish you all the best with your kids and your family. See, and this is why earlier on I also spoke about people who choose to walk away from their families because of toxicity. When you have tried to help, when you have tried to get things to work in the family, but they don't, and all it does is cause you stress, you can't just stay with family just because it's family. If being with your family doesn't give you peace, how do we then justify staying in an environment that is toxic and stresses you, throws you into depression, makes you hate yourself, makes you hate everybody? You can't. So there are some instances where people choose to just walk away from their families. And Xoli, that's a brave thing to do. I wish you all the best. Katleho, you're calling us from Davidton. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
Hey, Tarak, I'm not doing.
I'm good. Okay, Clement, with mine, it's like, I don't know whether should I call it maybe a healing or something that I need healing from. So currently, like I'm staying with my little sister, so she has 2 daughters. So I don't have kids of my own. So it's like lately, so the kids are still toddlers, and they're very affectionate kids, you know. So since they're very affectionate, sometimes they'll come and hug me. So with that, I just become shocked, you know. So sometimes
it's uncomfortable.
Yes, because I don't think I've ever experienced that. Experienced that growing up, especially with my parents. Yes, so my parents were very strict people, and we never got the opportunity maybe to express or how I love my father or my mother. So now with my nieces, it's very different. So sometimes I feel bad for maybe saying to the little one, like, no, don't hold me like this, all of that. But then when I'm alone, I just think about it. I'm like, man, why did I do that? You know? So, but what I've seen or learned from that is like now I'm starting to opening up to them in terms of also showing affection, even though it's still difficult, but I think it's something that I still need to work on. So that's why I've even started like therapy sessions, because I'm someone who's very caged. Yes. So I think it's also due to my past. So that's why I'm also trying to unlearn certain behaviors that I've learned previously. that make it hard for me to show affection. Because even in my relationships, it was always the problem. The women used to complain about my lack of availability or emotional availability. Even though in my head I know I'm there, but I struggle showing it. So that's what I'm trying to heal from, Clement.
Well, Katleho, let me tell you, my friend, you're not alone. I struggle with that too. I struggle with showing and also even sometimes receiving affection. So that is something I've had to learn to work on. You also struggle with saying I love you to your loved ones.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And these little ones will make you change, because they are very forward and they'll come hug you, they'll tell you I love you. So I'm in that situation where I've got my niece who's also very forward like that. My sister as well will force you and say, I love you, say it back to me. Force you, come hug me. So we learn, and I'm glad what's important, Katlaho, is like we're able to pick up that we need to learn that to be vulnerable, because actually that's bravery. In fact, Katlaho, what I'll do, I'll recommend a book to you. I'm going to put you back to the producers. Please get Katlaho's contact. I want to send you a book, Katlaho. There's a book that I've read about vulnerability by who is that author who wrote the book about vulnerability? Who's that author? That famous author. Someone please remind me. Brene Brown. Brene Brown wrote a book about the power of vulnerability. And Katlaho, that's one of the books that have really helped me to start allowing myself to be vulnerable and not see it as a weakness and see it actually as a strength, as a form of bravery. So I'm going to put you back to the producers. I'll get your contact and I'll contact you. I'd like to get that book for you. I think it can help you out. And all the best, eh?
A great show also. Have a great day.
Sharp, brother. Katlaho in Davidton. Thank you. It's 10:33. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Electricity Minister Ramaphosa says his team has identified a solution that could help to bring down the price of electricity. This as consumers continue raising concerns about the unaffordable cost of power. Electricity prices went up by 12.7% last year, and more price hikes are looming, with another double-digit increase likely this year. Gauteng community safety officials are calling for the security company tasked with guarding the Booysens Magistrates Court to be held accountable. It follows a shooting outside the court yesterday in which 5 people were targeted. Gunmen opened fire, killing 2 people and injuring 3 others. While search efforts to locate a missing Ekurhuleni city official in Mozambique enter their 5th day today, MMC for Roads and Transport, Andile Mgwevu, was reported missing late on Friday evening after a vehicle that he and his friends were travelling in was caught in flood waters in the Chokwe region in the southern part of Mozambique. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university. So why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Amu, how are we looking?
Well, Clement, we've got delays on the M2 West heading towards Selby. This is due to an accident right near Heidelberg Road. It's causing about a 15-minute hold-up there. Please try to avoid the scene. If you're traveling in the south of Joburg, particularly Protea Glen, towards the R558, queuing traffic on the N12 West, that's due to roadworks along the route. Please avoid and be on the lookout. And then in the city of Tshwane, we've got some issues being reported on the N14 North, just as you approach Euphus Road. This is in the Fountains area, so please try to avoid. If you're heading towards the CBD, please try to use the N1 North instead, or even the R55 through Centurion. I'll have more traffic updates for you at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Johannesburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of Feb. So travel by the 12th of Feb 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
63-year-old Almero knows all about saving with Outsurance.
We do save 417 Rand. That's about 5,000 Rand a year.
That's an awesome saving on Almero's 2021 Ford Ranger.
And there's an out bonus that you get if you don't claim for 3 years. I am really looking forward to it.
How much money could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
This year is the year. I'll be catching flights and not feelings. Serving looks Monday to Sunday. 5 a.m. club. Small things. I'll be awake before a Hadida can even say, this year things are gonna change.
Okay, so what would you like to order then?
Just hit me with the usual. Kota chicken, single chips, and a roll.
Oh, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Get the Nando's flame grilled quarter chicken, single chips and roll for only 82 Rand. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. 702
Healing Hour.
It's 23 minutes before 11 o'clock. This is the Healing Hour. It's a feature that we do once a month, and it's an opportunity for you and I to talk amongst ourselves as friends, as a community. And today, being the beginning of the year, the first month of the year, we're healing from, we're talking about things you want to heal, or the things you want to heal from. What do you want to work on this year? Maybe for some people, it's the insecurity that has quietly taken root in your lives, or perhaps in your relationship where you're constantly questioning your worth, or even your career, where self-doubt has held you back. Maybe you're still carrying pain from the past relationship, heartbreak that were never fully processed, maybe wounds that resurface when you least expect them to. Maybe it's resentment or unforgiveness towards those who disappointed you. Maybe it's betrayal of your trust or hurt in ways that people have never acknowledged. Or maybe you're feeling guilty for something and you're regretting something. There's shame over the choices you've made when you were just trying to survive. So what is it that you're trying to heal? What is it you're trying to heal from? What is it that you're trying to work on? Is it emotional baggage that you've been carrying for too long? Give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Lerato, you are calling us from Springs. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Hello.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Yes, Clement.
Mm.
You know, for me, the first thing that I'm going to prioritize is my financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have money, I mean, you just take whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and this takes me way back to COVID-19. I was the only one working, and then everything was just too much. My hubby was working overseas, and you remember COVID started in America.
Mm-hmm.
Salaries stopped, and then when you were explaining to the schools in South Africa, they were like, what are you talking about? People did not believe you, because already in November, December, people were dying in New York, salaries stopped. And then you have to explain to the schools, in the private school in South Africa, they just don't believe you. People did not believe you. Yes. And then another thing that COVID-19 taught me is that, yes, family members can say, come, let us assist you, because I remember moving to my sister's house. She is well off, and we were really struggling because the whole family was depending on me. The whole family, we moved into the big house, because I remember July, the big riots. We were in the big house. But what I can tell you is that people get tired, Clement. People can help you. Your sister can help you, but at some point it's also too much. So we need to rely on, on ourselves. We need to rely on ourselves. And then financial independence or financial freedom, I mean, that one, it's not negotiable. We have to prioritize, because otherwise people are just going to play with you.
Yeah.
And then again, what almost broke me, I remember the same sister, we were being almost, my other sisters convincing her that, these people must go. It's too much. It's enough now. So you are almost being chased out of this house. Okay? So, but anyway, it's fine. I guess we learn every day. So that situation really taught me something. But the second thing was when my sister was, turning 40, and then I was not invited to her party, and then I was like, what have I done? And then I thought to myself, yes, obviously it means we just expected too much. We crossed the line, because people want to help, but only to a certain point.
But I'm glad, Lerato. I mean, it's so good that you're taking a positive view out of what you went through, and you are just taking lessons from it. And I like that you're saying for you, that's also taught you the importance of financial freedom, being in control of your finances. And I wish you all the best with that. Lerato in Springs, thank you for your call. Peter in Pretoria, hi.
Hello, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. What are you working on this year? Good morning.
Yeah, Clement, I'm actually working on, prioritizing myself, both my wellness in terms of health and financial wellness. I got disappointed at the beginning of the year. I have the mother of my child, though we've been staying separately. We have a child together, one child. I love my child so much that I sent her to one of the prestigious schools in the country. I won't mention the name, right? So what happened is, all these years, I'm the one who's been carrying the cost of the child's education, even though me and the mother are okay financially. So what happened this year, I felt that I got what I would call an awakening, a eureka moment, because just in December, I had spent just over 30,000 on the child, let's say 35 or so. So when I sent her money for school fees on the 1st of January, she came back quickly to say no, but the money is short by 1,000 rands. And then I said, but I just spent over 30,000 on the child. Isn't it that you can just pay the 1,000 rand? She said, no, she doesn't have money. But then something said, no, it can't be, because looking at her life, she's progressing. She's paid off the house in an estate. She went and bought her mom a house, demolished and built it afresh with a face brick and all that. I still stay in the same house where she left me like 7-8 years ago. But I do everything to support the child. But then when I start asking her as to what is your role when it comes to the child, she says she doesn't have money. Then I realized that, she's been taking advantage of that fact that I want nothing when it comes to my child. So she leveraged on that. So what I said to her is that, going forward, we need to, go proportionally when it comes to my child, because she also wants the best for her child, but she doesn't want to pay for it. She wants me to pay for it. My life is still stuck. Her is progressing. So I felt so betrayed, because I was confiding to her about my mother and siblings who now and then comes looking for money, asking for money from me. I was confiding on her. But only to realize now that actually she's also part of the problem. That she takes advantage of my good heart. While I love
Has she
my son,
agreed to also contribute?
I can tell you she hasn't spoken to me ever since. She's gone quiet.
And you've continued to contribute what you should.
So this would be the first month, end of January. I mean, that's for February. So my plan is I'm gonna send her half of the school fees and see what happens. Because she's gone quiet, she's not saying anything. She tells me she doesn't have money, but yet her life and her mother. And in fact, if I can just go back, the issue of her mother is one of the issues that caused our separation many years ago. So it's still there.
Yeah. Yeah, Peter, you see, and when it comes to a child, I mean, parents have got to learn to put their differences aside. And I mean, if you're a parent and you don't care about your child's school fees, but you are okay to be driving fancy cars or going to parties or buying clothes or enjoying life, but you have not prioritized your kid, that really questions whether you are even fit to be a parent. And Peter, your son is lucky to have you, and I hope that the mother of your child can learn to also just do her part as well. Let's go to your WhatsApp voice note.
Hi, Clement. I want to heal from addiction this year. Sugar addiction. I'm struggling with sugar. Especially with energy drinks. I don't know whether it's psychological. If I haven't taken any sugar, Clement, whether it's tea or whatever, I must have sugar to get me going. I don't care so much about food. Even if when I'm hungry, if I can have something sweet, I'm fine. So I wish there was a Sugar Anonymous organization that I would join. It's Penny from Four Ways.
Yeah. Oh, man, Penny. If you find that Sugar Anonymous, please tell me where it is so I can join too, because I have a problem with that too. I do. And in fact, that's one of the things I'm working on this year. I am absolutely addicted to sugary drinks. So I'll have juice. I'm addicted to Malva pudding. I'm addicted to ice cream. I'm addicted to, those ice lollies. Yeah, but this year I'm trying to do better. So since the beginning of this year, I've tried to. I'm just drinking lots of water, and I'll have a glass of juice like a day if I have to. Sometimes I don't, and I hope you can also start that process to maybe start minimizing, because one of the things I've realized is I used to go too extreme. So I used to go no sugar for the whole week, and I don't take sugar for the whole week. Yeah, I don't. But then what happens the next week is I relapse. Right? So I hope that you can understand to learn to take it one step at a time, because that's what I have learned. And so far, it's been working out well for me, taking it one step at a time as opposed to be more extreme. But yeah, all the best. I relate with that, especially because that is one of the things I'm working on this year.
Morning, Clement. Tandeka here. One thing I'd like to heal this year is the relationship I have with myself. As an adult, I've found that the journey of life will throw us in different directions where we have to do a lot just to survive. And during this journey and in these actions, we are very hard on ourselves. So this year, I'd like to make sure that I'm a bit more patient with myself. I'm a bit more understanding with myself. And I think that will also work with the relationships I have with other people. So it starts with self, and that's definitely what I'm going to do for 2026. Thank you.
Good morning, Clement. For me, this year I really just want to find myself. I got divorced 2 years ago, and for the past 2 years I was running around doing this and that and so on, and I never had time for myself. And now I can feel that I am emotionally, physically, and mentally tired, but most importantly, I don't know who I am. After many years of being in a relationship with its own problems, then after the divorce, I just continued for 2 years, doing this and that and being busy, work and all those things. But this year, I just want to sit back and find myself, work on myself. What are the things that I like? And rebuild, my own life really, instead of focusing on all these things around me. Thanks, Clement. Nice show.
Thank you, and all the best with that. Zanele, you're in Rivonia. Good morning.
Hi, Clement.
Hey, Tara.
Yes, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. This year, what I would like to let go. For the past 2 years, I've been babysitting I don't want to call him my baby dad, but the father of my kids.
Yeah.
Because now, whenever there's something that's required or needed, we need to communicate as co-parents. But I find it very hard to communicate with that person.
Mhm.
Already he emotionally abused me in that relationship. I was dealing with that, and I didn't even give my kids that 100% attention. So even today it was heartbreaking. The parents were there because the school they opened today is a new school. They opened today. I took my child there, and then he was like, I wish Daddy was here. And then that's when I realized that, I've given this man enough power. Because even now, I had to run around looking for uniform, looking for stationery. It's not even healthy, even for the kids. So I've decided, this year, I'm not going to follow him around. He will do what he feels is fit for his kids, and then I will do my part.
Yeah. No. Zanele, that's it, hey? Sometimes you really can't force another parent to be present. Unfortunately, you really can't. Some parents out there have no regard for their children. They don't understand the responsibility they have. And sometimes as a parent who understands that, you just have to take it and take care of your kids and do it for them. And forget about the next person who, because you can't force them to be present, can't force them to love their own children, to take care of their own children.
Hi, Clement. For this year, I would like to stop forcing someone to be a father to his kids. I'm staying with my beautiful 2 kids, and I'm taking care of everything. And every time I have to force their father to do things of which he knows that he is supposed to do that. You're supposed to buy, for example, now school's just opened. I had to cover the cost for the uniform, of which late last year he did say that he will buy them, but boom, come January, I have to cover everything. So it's like every time he has to do things for the kids, I have to follow him, and it's like I'm making him do his job. So no, this year I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna raise my kids and then stay away from that man. If he wants to see his kids, he can come, but I won't go after him. Like I'm letting it be. Thank you, Clement. It's Promise here.
Hi, morning, Clement. This is Zenton from Pretoria. Clement, I want to heal from. I've been through such a bad 10 years. I've been, sometimes life takes a wrong turn, and I was wrongly accused, and my name was on a criminal record for the last 10 years by the state. And yes, I've won the case. But what happens, it depresses you. It affected my life. And there's a root core. Sometimes you have a root core, and everything affects your life. And I really want to heal this year to make a difference to people with love, with kindness, and to understand. And thank you for this healing hour, because it helps so much. And may God bless you and have an awesome, awesome day. I am going to make a difference for 2026. Thank you, Clement.
Hi, Clement. I'm going to remain anonymous for this one. I want to heal from alcohol abuse. I will say that I have been taking alcohol, and I think this has even increased over last year since I lost my job. I think I take it just to sort of put my mind out of the present situation, just to escape for that moment. So I'd get a drink or two almost every day, 2 or 3, just to have that and just to be in that moment. And I've seen that it affects my kids because they see me on this high. I'm happy in that moment, but then I then go back into that cage or into that world of sort of like depression. But I always just need to have that drink each and every day. I've tried since the beginning of the year just to cut down. I have cut down drastically, but I find that I keep having to have a drink each and every day, and I do need to stop. It's hard. It's hard considering the situation, and I don't want to blame the situation because it's a decision that I actively take, and I really, really want to heal from that. Thanks, Clement.
You are on the right path. You're on the right path. All the best. Patricia, you're calling from Arcadia. What are you working on this year? Good morning.
Morning, Clement and the team. I will be working on putting boundaries. I had a situation where they say people know who they are in your life, but do you know who you are in their lives? I've been a cheerleader for a lot of people, solving issues at work, at home. But this year I was treated like a stranger where I was supposed to be put in a pedestal. So I thought, why this mistrust, like I'm coming maybe with a negative energy, and then where I was supposed to shine with maybe my daughter, but she's not necessarily my daughter, but somebody that I was involved in her life too much. But she made me feel like I'm an outsider, or you want to take a shine, or you want to be paid because Mahadi are getting paid, and then I was treated like, or do I know who I am in the people's lives? Are you always being called to give out money, to solve this challenge, to solve this problem? Do you know who are you? Who are you in these people's lives? So this year I'm going to put boundaries and take care of my needs, not necessarily taking everybody's needs at work, at home. Wherever I go, I would like to help, but people use you differently and then for different reasons.
Absolutely. Patricia, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. That's important. Thank you for your call in Pretoria.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.hollywoodbets.net today and tip your way to the top. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
You can become a victim of a legal problem, wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Electricity Minister Vincent Ramaphosa says his team has identified a solution that could help bring down the price of electricity. This as consumers continue raising concerns about the unaffordable cost of power. Electricity prices went up by 12.7% last year, and more price hikes are looming, with another double-digit increase likely this year. Last year, the National Energy Regulator was caught in a 76 billion rand calculation error in its price determination. Speaking on 702 from the World Economic Forum this morning, Ramaphosa says key to reducing the price of electricity is reducing the cost of coal.
So we've found what we think is a unique solution. If you look at the price of electricity, the primary driver is what we call primary energy, is the cost of coal really, Bongani. It's about 40% of the cost of electricity. So if you are able to bring that down, then we are in a sweet spot. We are in the game.
At the same time, several climate justice groups are set to demonstrate outside the National Energy Regulator offices against electricity hikes today. This comes ahead of the afternoon deadline for public comment over nurses' consultation for Eskom's electricity tariffs. Earthlife Africa, Johannesburg, will lead the protest action, along with the Women's Energy and Climate Change Forum, the Climate Justice Action Group, and Grassroots for Climate Change. Jabulile Mbata reports.
The environmental activists say South Africans have had to contend with years of load shedding and rising power costs. They are saying because of this, residents should not be paying for Eskom's electricity increases when it has been unreliable with its supply of power. They suggest that in many households, others are forced between buying food and paying for electricity. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
We shift our focus to this now. Gauteng community safety officials are calling for the security company tasked with guarding the Booysens Magistrates Court to be held accountable. It follows a shooting outside the court yesterday. Gunmen opened fire, killing 2 people and injuring 3 others. The Gauteng Legislature's Portfolio Committee says this points to a lapse in security protocols. It says the performance of the contracted private security company needs to be looked into. Chairperson Bandi Masugu says the shooting represents a direct attack on the rule of law.
The incident also reinforces the committee's long-standing concern about the proliferation of illegal firearms in Gauteng, the ease with which firearms are accessed and used to commit violent crimes, strengthen our call for a decisive coordinated action towards achieving a gun-free Gauteng, supported by stronger intelligence-led policy.
Search efforts to locate a missing Ekurhuleni city official in Mozambique have entered their 5th day. MMC for Roads and Transport, Andile Mgwevu, was reported missing last week after a vehicle he and his friends were travelling in was caught in flood waters in the Chokwe region in the southern part of the country. Yesterday, government officials confirmed that one person survived the incident and is assisting search and rescue personnel with information. Oren Singh reports.
While the window of finding Andile Mgwevu alive edges closer towards closing, government remain optimistic. Yesterday, a delegation of officials visited Mgwevu's family in Springs on the East Rand. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi says they paid the family a visit to offer their support.
We remain highly hopeful that we will be in a position to make a breakthrough and get the information that will assist us to understand where everyone is and what happened or what needs to be done to ensure that we can come and convey that message to the family.
Lesufi says authorities are working with the survivor who was in the vehicle with Mgwevu and 3 others when it was swept away.
The last information that was provided us, indeed, there was somebody that they believe is a survivor that they're communicating with.
DIRCO are providing the family with updates. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
And the Indonesian embassy is urging Indonesians to leave cyber scam sites and report to the embassy. It follows reports that more than 1,400 Indonesians have left these networks in the last 5 days. Between January the 16th and the 20th, they also went to the embassy to seek help. Scammers working from hubs across Southeast Asia, some willingly and others trafficked, lure internet users globally into fake romances as well as cryptocurrency investments. Gold is trading at $4,883.76 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 22.03 to the pound, 19.21 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.92 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident in Village Main along the M2 West. It's right near Elof Street. Delays from Heidelberg Road. There's also queuing traffic reported along Main Reef Road. This is in the Amalgam area between Crownwood Road and the Albertina Sisulu Road off-ramp.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 25 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Electricity Minister Ramaphosa says his team has identified a solution that could help to bring down the price of electricity.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela show. Thank you so much for staying with us here on 702. And thank you for all your calls and your texts and your voice notes and your emails, your tweets on the Healing Hour. I always appreciate it. And as I have said, I believe that when we declare these things that we are working on, the universe is listening, the God is listening, the guides are listening, whatever you believe in. And I believe that there is more oomph to what we are intending to do this year. So we've got a lot of support. We've got a lot of support from all of us as a community. So all the best with all the things you're working on this year, the things you're healing and the things you're healing from. It's time now for our Listener's Choice feature.
Burning questions,
Insightful answers
Listener's Choice.
with Clement Manyathela.
So on our Listener's Choice feature this morning, we are talking about the protests in Iran. One of our listeners has asked that we bring in someone who can explain what has been happening in Iran, what the protests are about, how the regime in Iran has responded to the protests, and what the resistance from the citizens actually means. As you may be aware, for nearly it's a couple of weeks now, in fact, Iran has been gripped by nationwide protests that represent probably the most serious challenge to the Islamic Republic in years. There are demonstrations that have spread across a lot of cities. Some, news agencies are saying that over 100 cities. There are issues with internet access that has been repeatedly cut, and rights groups are saying dozens of people have been killed. So we've got someone who's going to help us to understand what has been happening on the ground, because it looks like what began as anger over prices, over the economic situation in the country, has quickly turned into something much bigger, and some are arguing a direct challenge to the political order built around the supreme leader. Dr. Saeed Husseini is the director of Islamic Center for Africa and chairperson of the South Africa-Iran Friendship Association. Dr. Husseini, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Good morning.
It's a pleasure, Clement, to be hosted by you, and greeting to you and all of your listeners and your technical teams.
Let's start with just what the situation is on the ground right now, and we'll go back to what has really caused unhappiness among the Iranians. How are things looking now on the ground? Because President Trump announced the other day that the killings have stopped, and we have seen reports suggesting that there are more and more cities that are joining the protests. What do you understand to be the situation on the ground now?
Well, this event, it is not born just overnight. It has got a historical background that if we don't follow and don't understand those backgrounds, we will not be understand and analyze this event properly. We have to go back to the history and the history of conflict between Iran and America, which didn't started overnight. It has got a 75 years of confrontation and conflict, which started by overthrowing an elected government of Mossadegh, and then later on the Iranian Revolution, which America has lost one of their gendarmes in the region and their allies in the region. And after the victory of Islamic Revolution in Iran, the interference of America and West into internal affair of the Islamic Republic has continuously continued up to today. Coming to the 12-day war between Iran and Israel, which has been attacked by Israel, thinking that they can overthrow the regime or they get rid of the Islamic Republic of Iran, they have said very clearly and openly, and they declared 3 aim and objectives. One is to destroy the Iranian capabilities of missiles and defense system. The second is to destroy the nuclear facilities that Iran has. And the third is to get rid of the Islamic Republic. On none of these 3 they were successful. And so they had, there is a saying says, never leave a wolf wounded. If there is a wolf which is wounded, don't leave him alive, kill him. If you leave a wolf alive, which is wounded, he will definitely come back to you. Mm-hmm. And in this case, Israel in that 12 days war was wounded, but it left alone, it left alive. That was the biggest mistake of the Islamic Republic. When they asked for ceasefire, while they attacked, and at the end, when they didn't manage to defend, and they lost all of their capabilities of defense, and the missiles were hitting Tel Aviv, and they were not able or capable to defend, they asked Trump to intervene and asking for ceasefire. They were not supposed to accept that, and as Israelis has started, Iran was supposed to end this, and that was probably going to be the end of Israel. But anyway, it didn't happen. This wounded wolf was looking for an opportunity to come back. For them to return back to the streets of Tehran, there was supposed to be 4 conditions. 4 things has to happen before they arrive there. The one is that they should reconstruct their destroyed defense system. Fill their warehouses of the missiles which they needed, which still they have not done. Because the production capacity of United States of America of supplying TADs and all of the Iron Dome things that they have is very limited, and they are not able to easily reconstruct. The second one is if they know where the supreme leader is. The third, if they know where the 400 kilograms of enriched uranium has been kept, which no one knows. And the third one is if the people come to the streets, so then they can come and help. In this situation, all of a sudden something happens in the Iranian Grand Bazaar, which is a peaceful protest. there is a difference between peaceful protest and a riot. The definition is that peaceful protest, you come, you slogan, you have a placard, you have got demands, you have got a resolution, you want to see somebody, you want to give the petition, you want an answer, you want a demand, you don't get, you come several times for a week or whatever. It's a peaceful demonstration. You don't break the window, you then burn a car, you don't kill somebody, you don't take the stone, you don't, burn the tires and the buses and the mosques and, I don't know, the clinics and the firefighter equipments and all of that. It's a protest. And like this protest, in the last at least 10 years, the statistics that I just checking today was something like 2,800 of such protests across the country has been held. And in all of them, the police of Iran was protecting them.
Okay, so we're talking about the peaceful protest. Okay, let me come in now. I'll go back to what you've explained about the interference of Israel and Iran. Are you suggesting that the protests in Iran right now are more riots other than peaceful protests? And the reason that we've got these protests is because of Israel and America. They have agitated the citizens to go to the streets so that they can be reason to do what exactly?
Exactly. At the beginning, it was protest by some shopkeepers at the Iranian Grand Bazaar in Tehran over the high level of the price of the foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately when that happened, it's a peaceful protest. The Iranian government, especially President Pezeshkian, has appointed a committee to go and talk and deal with the issue, and they started negotiations. And the result of that was, now I was hearing the day before yesterday, that $70 million is going to be pumped and injected into Iranian market for the price of the dollar to come down.
So they responded to the protesters' concerns.
Yes. But then, as we know, there is a wounded wolf which is looking for a small opportunity. They came in and they started now putting flames into this, and immediately the market or the shopkeepers has distanced themselves from the newcomers. Now these newcomers are, when they have been arrested in the streets of Tehran, they have got leaders they have been trained for creating a riot. Each of them has got a type of roadmap. This is how you should make cocktail Molotov. This is how you should kill. This is how you should create an artificial traffics. This is how you should enter to a building. This is how you should do this. All of the instructions has been given to these people how to turn a protest, a peaceful protest, to a riot. And that is from up to the 8 days, it was protest only, and Iran was dealing, and the security was even supporting and protecting the people. But as soon as the rioters now came with the new roadmap, with instruction to kill, with the weapons which are made in the United States of America and Israel, which 8 containers of them has been entered into the borders of Tehran, of Iran, and distributed widely in all Iran, and these has been used to kill people intentionally. I saw a clip of a delivery man who was just passing near to the riot, and they captured this delivery man, and he said, "Tell this to Khamenei, who is the leader," and he refused to say. And
How many people have been killed? Because the Iranian government itself is acknowledging thousands of deaths. I mean, I'm sure you agree that even if citizens are turning to be rioters, that still doesn't give you a right to kill them.
Well, if they have weapon which has been imported from overseas by the Israelis and Americans, and if they also, there is a saying by Donald Trump that stay in the streets, we are coming, we are on our way, and then we have a Mossad what you call message saying to the Iranian stay there in the streets of Tehran. Our agents are close to you, next to you. We are not just talking by lip service. We are next to you in the streets of Tehran. Then the story is something else.
How many people have been killed? So the number has been put at 3,000.
Well, I wish,
last I checked.
I wish I knew about that, because as you know, the internet is collapsed in Tehran. There is no any independent source to say how much, but I am giving you an account of the last riot which happened, and some people were killed.
Yes, I get that.
Yes,
but I'm just thinking if there are 3,000 people, let's say who have died from this riot. I mean, there are questions you've got to ask the Iranian government, unless they're going to be able to prove that every single one of those that they've killed was working with Israel or the United States, as they allege, that are trying to influence and agitate the protesters. It's the same argument we made about Israel in Gaza. You're killing innocent people that may not be coming after you, unless you're able to prove that every single child and human being you've killed in Gaza was actually working with Hamas. In this case, can the Iranian government prove that every single person that it's killed in trying to protect infrastructure or trying to quell the protests was working with Israel? And if they can't, then that is problematic.
Well, what happened, one of the good things that the Iranian government, especially Minister of Foreign Affairs, has done is to collect all of those evidences of the people which they have come to the streets with gun and killing unaccountable people, just killing randomly and finishing their, what you call their guns on normal people on the streets of Tehran. Showed all of those evidences to the diplomats of British and to the Germany and to the France, and said to them that you are supporting these rioters, but take this message to your governments and show them this documentary that we have from the cameras on the streets of Tehran, that how many guns has been imported and how many people are involved in this. One thing I am sure, they were targeting some people who had weapons of killing other people. In the process, no one can guarantee that one or two or three
Did those people kill them?
Well,
so if someone has a weapon, what, you go and kill them?
Of course, if you have a weapon and you come to the streets and you see they are killing other people, and you see that Mossad says I am in the streets of Tehran, and Trump says that I am on my way, keep there.
Wait, if a citizen kills another citizen, that's murder. So you arrest them for murder. You don't kill them.
Well,
imagine I kill someone here on the streets and an authority comes and kills me.
And if he's busy continuing killing, is there any government in the world which says don't kill him until he finishes his gun killing another?
How was he killing people? I mean, are you suggesting that someone had a rifle and was just shooting randomly at protesters?
Exactly, that's happening. And there are cameras who recorded these things. That's exactly what happens.
So 3,000 people had rifles.
When I'm saying 8 containers of weapon, what you call smuggled into the street, into to the towns of Iran, then you just imagine how many guns can be in those 8 containers. And these guns are in the hands of these rioters, which has been trained how to kill.
What is the role of, because the Iranian government has been warning the U.S. president not to interfere, because the president of the U.S. said, I'm willing to go after Iran if they continue to kill, the regime continues to kill people on the streets. I saw the regime responding and saying that we warn you not to do that because there will be consequences. Where is that now? Is there someone who's mediating? Because Trump seems to have paused on what he wants to do. But if he wants to continue to bomb Iran, that will not be good for the people of Iran, would it? And how would Iran respond?
Well, Trump is famous on his unaccountable or unthoughtful, all of a sudden thoughts, which later on he just says something and later on it comes that it's not true, or it was just an imagination, or he was in his ego and he said something and now he has to do. But when he said stay in streets and we are on our way, he didn't thought that that Iran is strong enough that I cannot go there just like that. They didn't realize that Iran is not another Venezuela. They know that Iran has got defense capability, defense capacity. And later on, when he started now operation and bringing his artillery to the Gulf, to the Persian Gulf, then he received calls from Netanyahu, hey, we have been punished in 12 days. And we are not still recovered with what we done. And we are not ready. What about if you go there and they take it on us? We are not able to defend. The Arab Gulf countries came to, Persian Gulf countries came to Trump and said, our security is in danger. We will not allow you to come there. He realized he's alone there. Arab countries are not allowing him, and he himself does not have the capacity. Iran has got a strong defense system. That was the reason that he retreated. Not any other reason.
Can Iran, though, take on the U.S.? And let me say this. I am not necessarily trying to say I don't understand this perception that there's interference from foreign actors. Yeah. Of course, when you look at the history of the U.S., this is how they've done things in the past. They come in through these protests. So they have a way of, when you look at Libya, many other countries, they've got a way of coming to agitate, and they take advantage of the legitimate concerns of the citizens just so they can come in.
Exactly.
So I get that. In fact, any other government, I've never seen riots or protests that get out of control and a government doesn't claim that they are foreign forces. We have claimed it here in South Africa during the July unrest. Tanzania has claimed it over the last 2 months. But what I'm trying to ask is, if Trump does attack Iran, what would you do? Because if you retaliate, does Iran have capacity to take on America?
Well, we showed that we had, because 2 times we have taken on U.S. When they killed our General Shahid Soleimani, what happened? We have targeted their base in Iraq, which was the first time in their 80 years one American base has been targeted by a foreign country. That was the first time, and we did it. And they got the lesson. The second one, when they came and bombed Iran nuclear facility, immediately we have responded the next day, and we targeted Al Udeid base in Qatar, which was another lesson to them.
Yeah, but it was more symbolic.
Of course. There
was no damage
of course.
Compared to the damage the US has done to Iran.
No. That's exactly proportionate, because we have analyzed what they did. Our facilities are something like 90 meters down the ground.
So they didn't destroy it.
Their capacity is only 30 meters. We realize there is nothing done. Okay, so it's fine, no problem. We will also do the same. Okay, but for them to realize things they will do, it will definitely has answer. As they sent and there was no anyone wounded, we also did the same. But if this time they come, Iranians are so ready that there will be no any base in the entire Gulf region will remain unattached. So that's what they have realized, the message they have taken, and that is the reason that the Trump retreat, not any other reason that the killing has stopped and all of that. Those are all excuses that he is making.
What is the situation as we speak right now? Is the regime finding a way to stop the protests?
Well, the protests stopped.
They stopped?
No, let me tell you when it stopped. Yes, it stopped. There is no riot since Friday last week. How it stopped? Something like 5 million people, Iranian, came to the streets across Iran. They came in Tehran, 3 million people. That the amount of people in the streets of Tehran is so much that you have to use a helicopter to go over this flood of people. That was the end of riots, not any government interference or American whatever. When they realized that Iran has got still support from his nation, and yes, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, even 100,000 may come from the opposition. But Iran has got the capacity to send 3 million people of his supporters to the streets, showing them that I am strong because I am backed by my nation.
All right. Dr. Saeed Husseini, thank you so much for,
It was
for
a
coming
pleasure,
through
Clement.
to chat to us. He's
Thanks
the
for
director.
giving me the opportunity.
Thank you for making time. He's the director of the Islamic Center for Africa. That takes us to 11:31. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Maki, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. We begin with news just in. Consumer price inflation has ticked up by a percentage point, rising to 3.6% in December from 3.5% in November. The latest figures mean South Africa ended 2025 with an average inflation rate of 3.2%, the lowest annual average in more than 2 decades. While overall inflation remains relatively subdued, households are feeling very different pressures across food, transport and rent categories. As the country continues to mourn the tragic deaths of 12 learners in a scholar transport accident in the Vaal, President Cyril Ramaphosa says no parent should ever have to lose a child in such a manner. The learners lost their lives on Monday after the minibus transport they were travelling in collided with a truck in Vanderbijl Park. Preliminary investigations indicate that the 22-year-old driver was attempting to overtake on a narrow road when the crash occurred. And in the Western Cape, strong winds continue to hamper firefighting efforts in the Cape Winelands as the fire rages on for a 5th day today, with several fire lines actively burning in the mountains above Franschhoek. Wind speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour grounded water bombing choppers when a sudden flare-up occurred in the Three Streams Farm area yesterday. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the M2 West, we still have got queuing traffic between Heidelberg Road and Elof Street. That's in the Village Main area. An accident reported along this route. Please be on the lookout and try to avoid. While traveling in Bedfordview, queuing traffic on the R24 East coming out of the Kiludi's interchange. And there's also slow moving traffic reported in 4 ways. This is along Winnie Mandela Drive between Leslie and Witkoppen Road. In the city of Tshwane, queuing traffic on the N14 North approaching Euphus Road exit. Please approach with care. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
11:33, time for the sharing space. This is where we share our stories about things that have happened in our lives, at work, during your holiday, while you were taking a walk. Whatever happened, really, that you want to share with us, that piqued your interest and you thought would be interesting to share with the 702 family. The easier way to send your stories, to share them, is to send me an email on cm@702.co.za. And we've got a story that someone has sent and is sharing with us today. So what I'll do is I'll play their WhatsApp voice note, and as usual afterwards I'm going to go to your calls and your WhatsApps. If they're asking for advice, please be kind enough to advise. If they are saying something that you have also experienced, I'd like to hear what your experience has been. So here we go.
Hi 702 Landers. I'm currently struggling with a situation that has left me feeling very confused and hurt. I have a friend that I've known since childhood. We grew up together and have shared many milestones. Even when her lobola was paid, I was there and I was so happy for her and I celebrated with her family and all of that. But even after the lobola, I would call in to check how wedding preps were going. You know, you would naturally assume I'd be part of the wedding, right? But I found out on social media that she got married and I was not invited. And it felt like a major betrayal. What made this even harder for me was the explanation that she gave after I confronted her. She told me that there was a limited number of guests and she couldn't invite everybody. At first, this sounded reasonable until I saw that her other friends were invited and even those that weren't as close. So why wasn't there space for me? Am I clearly the everybody she was talking about? This leaves me wondering or unsure of where I stand in her life or whether this friendship even still matters to her. I'm torn between feeling maybe I don't have the right to be angry, you know. After all, this wedding is hers and it's her choice. But I can't help but question whether I did something wrong or whether our friendship matters to her as much as it did for me. Do I have a right to be angry or am I just being petty? Was this a sign of the end of our friendship? Regards, Anonymous.
Okay, so whoa, not the sign of the end of the friendship. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet, but you're asking the right question. Do you have a right to be angry because you were not invited to a wedding in which there was a limited number of people that could attend? So let me put it out there first to the listeners. What do you think? Should Anonymous be angry with her friend? I mean, she was there at the Lobola negotiations. She attended the Lobola negotiations. But when it was time for her friend to do the white wedding, this friend wasn't invited. And the explanation she got was, well, there was a limited number of people. But she saw on social media the pictures that other friends had gone to the wedding. Now, let me say that I have been in the same situation before. Well, I was invited to the wedding, so I wasn't a friend that was left out. But I had a friend of mine who had a wedding. This is like probably about, this is like now 14 years ago, probably. And I remember this friend of mine had 2 weddings. There was one traditional wedding where all of her friends were invited. And then there was a white wedding. And she was actually getting married to a white person. So at the time, and I'm mentioning the race of the person because that was a conversation at the time. I mean, this is like 14, 15 years ago. So they chose that they're only going to have about, I think, 20 people at the wedding. So the groom brings 10 people, bride brings 10 people. And that includes the family and friends and, colleagues, you name it. So that's quite a tight number to work on. And I remember some friends were like, they understood because they thought, but, white people's weddings are normally like this. That was how other friends understood it at the time. So I made it on the guest list, right? Because I'm friends with the bride. And the bride, I made it on the 10 people that the bride was inviting. But I remember the bride had other friends. Some of them she grew up with. And I had only met the bride, during my final year, actually, at university. But there are people that the bride has known even from childhood. There are other people the bride has worked with for longer. People that the bride has known longer than she's known me. And I think those people at the time took offense. But they were invited to the traditional wedding, which actually happened, I think, the following weekend. So everybody was invited to come there. But there was unhappiness. There were murmurs. People were like, but why didn't I go? Why was that person there? So I really get where Anonymous is coming from. But does she have a right to be angry? I think any bride or groom has every right to invite whoever they want at their wedding. And sometimes you may think that you are a close circle of friends to me, and maybe to you. Maybe I'm your best friend, but are you my best friend? So I'm probably 3 of the closest friends in your life, but are you 3 of the closest friends in my life? And I think, Anonymous, my advice is just be a little gracious. Understand that the friend I hope your friend at least told you that, hey friend, I'm going to have a wedding, the white wedding, but it's tough because I've got a limited number of people, so please bear with me. You won't be there because I can only bring 3 friends and I've got 3 childhood friends I brought. I hope that she's explained that if you guys are really that close. But it's their wedding at the end of the day. I don't know. I wouldn't be angry, but I understand that you take it differently. So let's hear what the 702 family thinks. Does she have a right to be angry? Should she have a conversation with the friend? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Okay, truck 7 has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without My Way's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
This is your captain speaking. To all passengers who booked with Flight Center last year, congratulations. You've officially upgraded to Travel Legends. You are out there living it up, posting beach pics and sipping mocktails at sunset. To everyone else still thinking about it, this is your wake-up call. It's a new year. Time to turn someday into this year. Visit flightcenter.co.za or your nearest Flight Center store today. Flight Center, your center for travel.
Supercharge your business productivity with Moloi Innovative Solutions. We bring the most highly customized and cost-effective IT infrastructure to your fingertips. Whether it's desktop and server support, cloud services or hardware, software and printer procurement, our dynamic team makes sure that you have the tech that resonates with you. Moloi Innovative Solutions. Experience at its best. Get to moloiis.co.za for more.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6. National Taxi Council, Santaco, has announced they're going to be focusing on installing breathalyzers in taxi vehicles. How are these breathalyzers going to work?
The breathalyzers are being installed for two reasons. One, importantly, to restore commuter confidence and to ensure that they are driven by drivers who are well equipped to do that and not under any sort of alcohol influence. But secondly, to de-risk the taxi industry. So that's just to also restore that kind of confidence.
Rebecca Pala, spokesperson at Santaco.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
19 minutes, in fact, 18 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's go to your calls. Piarani, let's start with you in Sentin. What do you think? Hi. Hey, Piarani.
Oh, Piarani, yes.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, my take on this anonymous view is that I actually agree with you that, people do have a right to choose who they want to be.
Yeah.
They want their wedding or whatever the event. But what I do think also is that sometimes you think they're too close, and then maybe you even overshare. I've shared this with them, I've had this with them, I've called them when I had this, and then they don't do the same to you. And if you believe, like I do, that a relationship needs to be a two-way stream, and I think now, and you think that is not the kind of relationship that you have, where you are not being reciprocated the way you want to be, then maybe you need to start engaging at that level.
Yeah.
Maybe now start addressing it like, I will share this with them and not that.
Yes,
because sometimes what people sometimes are giving you, they don't expect more than that from you. Sometimes you find that you are even annoying them by telling them all your problems.
Yeah, because they don't want to hear those from you. They're not that close to you, but you think you're that close to them and they're that close to you. I hear you, Piarani. So maybe she must relook at the relationship. Lehlogonolo, you're in Reimsach. What do you think? Hi.
Morning, Clement.
Sure.
So, anonymous story reminds me of my story. So, there's this guy that I met in 2009. We became close. Then fast forward 10 years later, I remember, so he's into tenders. 10 years later, I remember saying to him, and we were very close so throughout the 10 years. And then I remember saying to him, hey, Chief, there's people that you recently met in your life, like if some of them are just 2 years, if a friendship that it's been 2 years since you guys have been friends, and already you are giving them business, and you've never given me any business. The answer was simple and straightforward. Chief, I've never regarded you as my friend. You were just somebody that was close in my circle, and the reason I enjoyed chilling with you was because every time I wanted to unwind, have girls around, I knew that if I call you, you're going to make a plan with girls.
After 10 years.
That's why you were in my life. After 10 years. That's why you were in my life, And on that same day, I took a decision. I stopped talking to him until today. It's been 4 years. I haven't spoken to the guy. I haven't seen him. So Anonymous, because I thought I was a friend. So Anonymous may think that she was a close friend to the bride, only to find out that she wasn't. So it's simple. She does not have any right to get angry, but she can make a decision. Well,
yes, it can be her decision. True. Lehlogonolo in Remsach. Thank you.
Clement. How are you doing? Great show. But come on, guys. I don't know. Maybe it's me. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, to be honest, I feel like a wedding is a big day. And if someone is that good a friend to you, if someone is that close to you, they should invite you, right? It goes without saying. You would probably be first on the list. There's something up. There's definitely something up. There's a reason. There's something up. But like you're saying, maybe it's not the end of the friendship. But there's definitely something up, and it's big. And it's big because a wedding is a big thing.
Good morning, Clement. This is Kabela from Pretoria. My suspicion is that Anonymous all along thought this person was a friend. So Anonymous wasn't a friend. Anonymous was just a resource of some sort that this friend of hers, friend in quotes, benefited something. So when it was time to rejoice, she just felt she needs to be with her real friends. So what she should just do is just to cut this so-called friend off completely and forget about it and move on.
You are definitely not being petty. It hurts when that sort of thing happens. But I think that she is showing you the role you have in her life. And going forward, you need to accept that, however sad it is.
Clement, I would be angry. I would be angry, honestly. Why must I be excluded? Which means this friend doesn't trust me. I'm not her friend. I would be angry. Why pretend all along? I know. I would be angry, Clement. Brenda Dobsonville.
More of your calls and WhatsApps after this. It's 12 minutes before 12.
The Dis-Chem Better Rewards program is here, and every time you shop and save, you're also giving back. Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. So why wait? Sign up to become a Better Rewards member today and support with every swipe. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
For over 30 years, Bid Air Cargo has kept South Africa's supply chains moving, giving our economy the dedicated cargo capacity it needs. Whether it's oversized, hazardous, or just really, really urgent, when a shipment has to fly, we make sure there's space. Linking all major airports with reliable freighter services. Our promise delivers. Bid Air Cargo. Every kilo counts. Proudly backed by Bidvest.
Let's hear from Susan, owner of Leopard Song Manor, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We were with our previous insurer for 13 years. Switching made me aware of things that we weren't covered for. It was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60000 today. Licensed Insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
What happens when investment is driven by purpose? You build a legacy that lasts 30 years and counting. The Mine Workers Investment Company marks 3 decades of empowering mine workers and their families through smart, sustainable investment. Catch the Clement Manyathela Show in conversation with the MIC next week on 702. Find out how the 100% black-owned investment holding company has grown long-term cash-generative assets that fund education, social upliftment, and black business development across SA. That's the Clement Manyathela Show in conversation with the Mine Workers Investment Company next week on 702.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
10 minutes before 12 o'clock. Back to your calls and WhatsApps.
Right, Clement. Interesting one. Look, I think it's a class thing. Back in the days when I was still a pretty young man, not having a lot of resources, I didn't make most of the invites. And soon after, things sort of became better for myself. Now I'm making all the lists. I think it's a class thing. And I've cut off most of those guys that only saw me when I had something.
Hello, Clement. Good morning. Regarding this lady complaining about being forgotten about the wedding, I think she has the right to be angry, very, very angry. And I think there's no any good reason that her friend can give to back up her points of why she left her out. Yeah, I think this one, no man. I think there's no friendship there. It's a big, loud speaker of saying there's no friendship between you and me, or I don't value you as my friend. Yeah, so let her be angry and get out from this so-called relationship. Because if she was able to attend the robot and everything, there was no way she would be left out. And there was no reason that she can give to support her reasoning that as she is saying. Thank you so much, Clement.
Clemens, good morning, and good morning to all the listeners. This question, what I would say to Anonymous? What I would say to her, you have no rights to be angry. You are putting yourself as maybe a close friend. You don't know how she has already demonstrated. She has already demonstrated what you are to her. You have no right to be angry, so to speak. You go get married if you're not married yet, and if you're not married yet, and don't invite her. Go get married if you're not married yet, and don't invite her. Everybody's happy. Case closed. Titus Tofontaine.
Okay, Titus. Vusi, you're in Pretoria. Good morning.
Hi, Lochan Clement, ngapha nge-studio at Vusi in Pretoria, yes.
Locha Vusi, what are your thoughts?
Clement, I think this lady, she mustn't be hard on herself because of, she was invited in fact, she was the part of the Lobola negotiations. So now, let's say, as I've heard it, the guests were limited, right? So, because she was in the Lobola negotiations, so maybe they could have said, as in the family, to say, let's give other people a chance because of she was there. For her to be in a wedding, they might have to take out another person whom perhaps was not in the Lobola negotiations. So she must just take a chill pill. And let the friendship go on, yes.
Yeah, take a chill pill. Yeah, Vusi in Pretoria, thanks. I hear you, but maybe then they should have had the conversation. The bride should have said, friend, because you've come to the Lobola, others who didn't come to the Lobola will come to the white wedding. The problem is there are other people who were also at the Lobola who still made it to the white wedding. How does the bride explain that?
Yo, Clement, this reminds me. Oh my God, you took me back because this actually happened to me. Okay, but then in a different way. When my brother got married, I was so sure I'm gonna be like, part of his maybe his best man or something. I was not even a groomsman, bro. Yo, okay, I get it. Sometimes you don't mean as much to a person as you think as they mean to you. I get it.
Hi Clement, this is Henan from Florida. We have the same situation. My one stepbrother's daughter is getting married, and she's not inviting to a wedding. I'm also not invited, but it doesn't really bother me because I don't like the groom she's inviting with. That she's getting married to. So it doesn't really matter to me, and it's in the week, and it's not over a weekend when you can really take off. So yeah, doesn't really bother me. I don't like the guy doesn't have respect for older people. So yeah.
No, man, I think Anonymous needs to cut off that friendship. She's clearly not valued the same way she values her friend. I mean, dude, if you invite me to your negotiations and I pitch up, and I've always pitched up to everything that was a milestone in your life, clearly and fairly enough, I think I deserve at the least to get invited to your wedding as well, bro. You know what I mean? If there were other important people, if I was not important enough to make it to the wedding list, then surely I shouldn't have been important enough to make it to the Lobola negotiations as well. How long if you had cut me out of both events, then that would have made sense. But dude, I was there at the beginning of your wedding journey. Now in the culmination of the process, you can't invite me. You're not a friend. She's pretending. Cut that lady off. Move on.
Hi, Clement. A similar thing happened to me a couple of years ago. A guy that I considered as a friend just didn't invite me to their wedding. And I saw on that this guy's getting married. And then another friend of mine told me that, you know what, my guy, no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything. Even if your brother is to be getting married the following day, just know that he doesn't owe you an invitation. It's at his discretion who he wants to spend money on. So, yeah, she must just take it as it is. No one owes you anything. Just accept or appreciate those people that do take you as a person into consideration. Thanks. Zulu from Boxburg.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The countdown to the Barron's Gone in 60-hour sale has begun. From 22 to 24 January, over 100 cars must go at prices so low, it's a steal. Save thousands on new, demo and used Vivos, Polos, T-Crosses, Tigos, Tiguans and more. Stock is limited, blink and they'll be gone. Speak to Barron's Woodmead and Bruma today. Barron's, the Volkswagen people.
Life keeps getting busier. Parenting, shopping, working, exercising, just surviving. With all of that, who has time for anything else? That's why Netcare introduces Netcare AppointMed. Just tell us what you need, a specialist, GP or dentist, and we'll search our nationwide network of 5,000 doctors and find an appointment with a doctor who best suits your needs and medical aid. That's Netcare AppointMed on the Netcare app.
Coming up
on the Midday Report.
Coming up on the Midday Report, Jane Dutton in for Mendy. How are you doing, Jane?
I'm doing very well.
What's popping today?
Okay, good news. We have experienced our lowest inflation rate in 21 years. I mean, the problem is when it comes to meat and basics like that, the price still shoots through the roof. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about what it means for us and how we can navigate this. The DA reckons that the Knysna water crisis was avoidable. I'm sure they're saying that. They're saying it's petty politics. So we're going to find out from them what they suggest in order to prevent that from happening again. And, you know, as we know, when it comes to early learning, so many of our scholars, South African students, can't read or write. So Lekgotla is underway to try and address this. The president has also been talking there about those 12 kids who lost their lives. So we're going to find out what he said about that.
That's what's coming up on the Midday Report. Thank you for listening to the Wednesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Be good. Take care of yourself. We'll be back tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm Mikey Malapo.
Consumer price inflation has ticked by a percentage point, rising to 3.6% in December from 3.5% in November. The latest figures mean South Africa ended 2025 with an average inflation rate of 3.2%, the lowest annual average in more than 2 decades. While overall inflation remains relatively subdued, households are feeling very different pressures across food, transport and rent categories. Mungezi Koko has more.